Obviously, exciting time for us, our players, our coaches, our fan base, everybody involved with our football program. As you kind of make that transition from fall camp to the first opponent and first week, it's been a really good transition. Year two, our players know what to expect. We understand the standard better, and so that transition kind of into game prep mode has been really good. Looking forward to our opponent in Florida State. Have tremendous respect for Gus Malzahn, who I've known for a very long time. I've known Mike Norvell since I was a senior in college. In fact, met him at a coaches convention through Gus back in 2009, and think the world of him too. And he's done a tremendous job wherever he's gone. But certainly for us, very proud of our players and coaches and the work that they've put in the offseason and put us in position to go compete at a high level this season. So ready to hit the ground running this week. We got a lot of work to do still, but we're moving in a position to go execute on Saturday.
Thank you, Coach. Let's start on the right side here with Charlie.
Yeah, hey, Coach, just what have you seen and what do you think of Florida State's run game, and particularly a guy like Roy Dale, who a lot of the guys on your defense are familiar with?
Yeah. Obviously, I don't know Roy Dale personally. The players know him and think highly of him, as well as you look at a number of their running backs that I think they're excited about, and they've got a number of guys that have had experience, be it there or at other places that came via the transfer portal. Young guy, I think that they're pretty excited about out of the backfield as well. And so really, they present a number of challenges. Gus always has, Mike always has in their offensive schemes. And they present a number of challenges to you formationally, motions, quarterback run, 1+ element, and then their ability to go tempo with their run game, presents a number of challenges for us. And so those are things that we've been working and preparing for, and looking forward to, putting the ball down and letting our guys go play.
Go to Colin on the left side.
Kind of in that same vein, there's been a lot of talk about, turning pressures into, production, sacks, tackles for loss, things like that.
Yeah.
What's the challenge of that, especially against a quarterback with the running capability of a guy like Tommy Castellano?
Yeah, I think, when you look at their quarterback, in his body of work over the years, he's hard to get down, a very shifty player. He can run. He's elusive in the pocket. He's got really good pocket awareness. His escapability is kind of all over the place. And so, kind of hard to pin down in that regard. So those are, I would say we'll have our work cut out for us. It'll be as challenging probably as we have had from a standpoint of creating negative plays on the quarterback in the backfield. So something that we're challenging our players. We work tackling year round. We're in a good position right now tackling as a defense, but until you put the ball down against another opponent, you don't know for sure.
Going to the far left, Brian.
Hey, Coach, I want to ask you about the defensive line, but also James Smith. We were out at media viewing period last Tuesday, and looked like he was moving around pretty good. What was his progress throughout the week?
Yeah, really excited about James and what he's done. James is such an explosive player. He creates havoc. You saw that even in the bowl game when he was able to generate a lot of negative plays, and I think he's done that here in fall camp. And so excited. He was tweaked up just a little bit early on in fall camp and has been good the last 2 weeks here, and is in a really good position going into to game week. So excited about him, excited for the opportunity. It's fun. I've mentioned this to you guys before, but it's fun watching some of these younger players that I've been here with over the last 18 months mature into young men that are accountable, that are detailed, that have habits that are more in line with what, a young professional, right? A young player that does things at a high professional level. And I think James has just been really enjoyable watching him grow and mature as a young man.
Jumping over opposite side here, Nick.
Yeah, a guy that I don't believe he played against you last year, but Squirrel White at Tennessee. What do you see him bringing to this Florida State offense?
Yeah, I think, obviously we've watched Squirrel a good bit in his time at Tennessee, and shifty player, has has some real speed, can do a number of things, and I think, looking at Gus and his system and Mike and what they have done with players kind of in that same personnel mold, I would imagine there's a number of things that they could do with him and some other guys that we anticipate on the field. And so to me, right, you're trying to anticipate, right, based upon a body of work from Gus and Mike and what these players have done from a personnel standpoint, be it wherever they came from, and try to get a feel for what they're going to do. But certainly I just think his athleticism and speed and quickness are going to allow them to be able to do multiple things with him.
Staying in the front rows, go to Tony right in the middle.
Unlike Kalen and Ryan, I think you've got more of a recent experience opening up on the road. What do you remember about the challenges of that, and just kind of how do you approach that?
Well, I think like anything, you put the ball down and you prepare your guys to go execute regardless of environment, and that's what we talk quite about. It's not the noise, it's not home, it's not the road, it's not all the different variables. It's just about the work. It's about the execution. It's about doing your job at such a high level that all the external variables are removed and you just do your job for that one play like it's the most important snap of the game. And then can you do that consistently over and over and over again? And those are the things that I think our coaches have done a really good job. I think Kalen does a tremendous job of just keeping the main thing for our players so that they can execute when it matters most. I think that's what we're preparing them to do.
Go to Katie, middle, second row.
You talked about in your opening that going into year two, guys understand the standard better that they're supposed to play at. Just kind of where do you feel like going into year two, confidence-wise in this defense compared to where you were maybe at this time last year?
Well, I know a lot more of the variables. I know our coaches better. We understand each other better, right? There's a gel that's that has to take place in a coaching staff, and I feel like we're in as great of a place as I've been. I think we're a close-knit group on defense as a coaching staff. I think our players see that, and I think that's reflected in the work and the energy that you see and feel at practice defensively. And I think understanding our players better gives us as a defensive staff the best opportunity to put them in the right positions. And so we understand ourselves better, we understand our players better, and then certainly from an opponent standpoint, if you look at the majority of the season, there's a lot of common opponents. This one, not necessarily so, but I think there's similarities in some of the things that we feel like we're going to see throughout the year. That just a better understanding and grasp of what we're doing. So those are the fun things about going into year two and being prepared and kind of having that gel and understanding. You feel that team chemistry right now defensively.
Go Kennington, first row.
You've spoken a lot about the idea that whoever can meet this threshold will get a chance to play no matter, what position or what age they are. In regards to the Wolf position, how many of those guys do you feel comfortable going out there and playing up to that standard?
Yeah, I think we've got a number of guys, as we've talked about before, that can go in and play for us. Obviously you've got experienced players in Quay Rousseau and Zebo Latham. Yanze Pierre has done some tremendous things, and I've seen a lot of growth and maturity from him. But then also some younger players, right, like Justin Hill and Noah Carter are doing some great things. It's about building more consistency in their game, right? So they flash, but, how consistent can they become that you feel confident that they can go out on any given play, any given down, and go execute at a high level? And those are the things that they'll continue to push in that regard. But I would say those guys are on the right trajectory right now.
Go to Alex in the back row.
You've had a lot of reps to get to this point. You can simulate things all you want, but it changes on Saturday.
Yeah.
What are the lingering questions, one or two questions you have in your mind that you want to see, you're anxious to see answered at Florida State?
Well, I think, we talk to the players about this all the time. Game day is different, and it always is, it always has been, and always will be. And that's exciting. That's what makes the game so special, right? ball gets put down in front of a group of fans home on the road, all the work that you've done playing each other, preparing walkthroughs, scout teams, and then ultimately, right, you got to go execute in the moment. And I think I'm excited to see how our players will handle that. We have some players that have tremendous experience in terms of playing in big environments and crowds. You've got other guys that have limited experience, and you're going to have some guys that have none from a college standpoint that are going to play in the game for us. And so how they handle the environment, how they handle the opportunity at hand, is something that I'm looking forward to seeing. And then I think you always, from a defensive standpoint, early in the season, you want to see how well you tackle, especially when you're looking at a running offense with a quarterback that can create and generate explosive plays with his feet, and he can extend plays with his feet. That's something that, ultimately we got to put the ball down and go play.
And we'll finish up with Joe, second row in the middle.
Coach, kind of building off a lot of these, with the depth and experience that you've built over the last 2 years, how comfortable are you deviating from the standard 4-2-5?
I'm confused by your question a little bit. When you say deviating from the standard of 4-2, you're saying like what other personnel groupings? Okay, I'm sorry. When you look at the experience that we have and some of the things that we feel like we can put ourselves in the best chance personnel-wise to get the right people on the field at the right time, year 2 allows you to be able to do more things, certainly. And so there's some things that we will have geared up and prepared for that not necessarily maybe anything new that we didn't show last season, just being able to expand off of those packages, right, is probably the biggest advantage you have in year 2 than you had in year 1. So,
Thank you, Coach.
all right, thanks, guys. Roll Tide.